On to Ukraine. We see in the Nine papers today, Ukraine has upped its appeal for a humanitarian shipment of Australian thermal coal. We saw a similar one back in 2022 under the former coalition government. Are you supportive of sending some coal to Ukraine to help them keep their power going?
No, well, we give appropriate consideration to all requests. We do that in a way that is diplomatic and gives proper consideration to it. But we are already very significant contributors to the Ukrainian efforts to defend their sovereignty and to defend their democracy. We have been very clear with measures of economic support, with the training just last week. A range of Australian soldiers headed to the United Kingdom to do further training of the Ukrainians in order to assist the war effort that they're engaged in. We'll continue to engage in a mature, considered way with Ukraine, and we stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes.
And in this energy request, are you open to that?
Well, we make decisions based upon a considered response. We've received a request, but there was a different request a week ago.
Yeah.
So
on the Taipans, the helicopters.
So
why do we not send those?
Because we take proper advice from the Australian Defence Force, and we give appropriate consideration to all of these requests.
On to the Middle East, just finally, we'll finish on this one, because I know that anyone that has seen your political career knows you have an extensive involvement with many multicultural communities. And from my experience, I haven't seen a conflict like this where it's got so many Australians so heavily invested, both at a personal level with relatives caught up either in Israel, Gaza or southern Lebanon. What's your, as a national leader, as our national leader, how do you reflect on that, given so many Australians are so heavily invested, feel so much about the trauma they see day to day out of the Middle East?
A big challenge for Australia is to make sure that we remain a cohesive society, that we don't bring anger and conflicts here, that we continue to give respect to people regardless of their faith, regardless of their ethnicity and their backgrounds. Now, that can be very difficult. I know that for the Jewish community after the October 7 terrorist attack by Hamas have been feeling very vulnerable. For many members of the Palestinian and Islamic communities who have relatives in Gaza as well, it's a very difficult time. So we need to acknowledge that. It's also the case that for some, we need to make sure that we respond in an appropriate way. Call out anti-Semitism when we see it, call out Islamophobia when we see it as well. And I have continued to engage with people who are affected by this, and I know that the concerns are very legitimate. But I want social cohesiveness here to be an absolute priority, and for us to continue to be prepared to have respectful debates, and I know that that is something that has been an absolute priority for me.
Let's hope that those respectful debates continue in this great country. Prime Minister, I very much appreciate your time to start the year. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Kieran, and welcome back.